Hello? Hello, Natalie. Hello, Margaret. I'm still setting things up, so give me like half a second. We'll get started very shortly. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot I was streaming today. Just a little. But I have my food. I'm ready to go. I will be eating during the stream because my ass is hungry. Hello Lilith, hello Sam. Sam, do you have classes on Fridays? Wait, today's a Saturday, never mind. Doesn't matter to you. This doesn't apply to you. If we had to read, I'm gonna cry and scream. I don't think there's any reading today. I don't think so. I hope. I'm wildin', haha. Don't worry. Go crazy. Go crazy, go stupid. I have a weird ass schedule. That is a really weird schedule. How long are your classes? 4 hours? Because I feel like it will only make up if it was 4 hours. What are we eating today? I made myself a quick instant noodle meal in a hot pot. I threw in some dumplings, carrots, an egg, and obviously the noodles. Guys, I love cooking for myself. I love these instant noodle hot meals. Hi, Lizzie! Mine are too. What the fuck? How did... I'm not gonna ask. Actually, I don't want to ask. That's too much info. Just saying, it is my stream. I know Lizzie's here, but it is my stream. Thank you. Please don't. It feels so weird. Where's Kit? She needs to be modding for my stream. Why do I have to mod for my own stream? I'm the streamer. I'm still a little sick. Just a tad. So, heads up. Oh, holy shit! Net news, we have the awesome virus and can expect extra tea with the drama whoop whoop. Girl, I bring in the tea. But thank you, Nat, for the €5. Damn. I don't know what that equivalents to in USD. I get an extra 86 cents. Let's go. Wait, is this so mad about how Sam does? Yeah. Like, what the fuck, Sam? Like, what the fuck? I'm sick due to it. Yeah. We all sick in this household. Girl, you just don't want me. No! I'm just saying. Like, what the fuck? You have, I'm assuming, like a class a day. If your classes are at night. Or whatever. So, did you get an outfit for a tea party? We'll see. Hi, Soul. Hi, Soul. I'm just saying, Sam, like, I'm assuming you have a class a day. And it's only for 2 hours. You have online. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. Because I was about to say, I feel like you had to go in person like 2 hours for a class a day. That's really, really freaking little. Alright. Let me eat a little. Let this be your time to like get snacks. Go get water. Hydrate. Hydrate. One. Samuel. We'll be talking later. We're gonna have a talk later. You and me, Sam. You and me. Alright. Everyone go grab your snacks. Go get your food. Go get your water. Hydrate. I almost joined him a brown cat and doxed myself. Kit. Where's Thomas? I'm gonna get Thomas here. I'm gonna make Thomas a mod. If Thomas shows up. There you go. Bah! Bah! The amazing digital circus got me brain rotted. Go bah! Bubble. I love Bubble. Ah. Was Thomas not a mod already? No, he's a mod on my Twitch chat, not YouTube. Yes. Yes, I am. Do your job! Guys, the Powerpuff Trio is here. Powerpuff Girl Trio is here. You won't get that reference until later. I love Bubble. I love Gooseworks. It's so goofy. We should. Thomas, you can stream it. Because I don't know how my laptop, my dinky laptop will handle it. Alright. Let's get into it. Totally later this year, eh? Crazy. Are my shaders on? You gotta start up again? Yes, you do. Bro, stream with me. I'll let you know my schedule. This message has been frying me. Nah. Nah. Not the college work. I had to wait 20 years for my Minecraft to load. Oh, I'm awake. I see nothing. Ooh, ooh, good morning. Ooh, good morning. Ew, ew, ew. It's like those one moments where you had to go, like, you're sitting in your chair for so long, you gotta go turn right and crack your back, and then you turn left and crack your back. Hey. Y'all just gonna ask and I'll make time? Okay. Good morning! Okay. Let me lower the music a tad. Holy lag? Yeah. If there's a book in the mailbox, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, me too. Because frankly, I don't want to read right now. I don't want to be literate. I should go back to being Florian and be illiterate. I miss when Virus had smooth gameplay. Yeah, that won't be for a while. You know, it would be smooth gameplay if I had no shaders on. But shaders make stream look pretty. So I kind of need shaders. I know, it's so bad. Alright. So many chores. Where's Vivian when you need her? Are your on shaders on low? I think so. Good question. Yeah. Literally. Whatever pack you have and make... Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just have it, and it kind of annoys me. I'm not gonna lie. Too lazy to make this all one. Whomever made reading a thing... Oh. Yeah. Give him jail time. Absolutely. I'm too lazy. I'll do this later. Grab my wither skeleton skulls. Potatoes crazy? Yeah. Yeah. It's that low. And I'm still, like, my laptop's still shitting the bed. How long until the tea party? Ooh. Okay. Let's see if Vivian has anything. She should have something. And I'm sure she wouldn't mind me, you know, looking for clothes in our room, so... Let's do that. I can't see past my laptop screen. Me hungry. Ha. Ha ha ha. Alright. This is something. Okay. Not bad. Not exactly my favorite, but it'll do. It's traditional-ish. A little bit extra. I don't even have... do I even have a mirror? I forget. I don't. Oh. We don't have a mirror. That's really interesting. We're not really supposed to have a mirror facing our bed, I know that, but... Wow. Okay, why don't we check the mail? Holy lag. Holy airball. Oh wow, that lampshade is looking really reflective right now. Hold on. Surely there's mirrors in here. There is. That's crazy. It's a changing room. What do you mean there's no mirrors in the changing room? Hold on. The glass looks really effective. There you go. There you go. Not exactly like the stuff I'd wear, but it'll do. Oh, that glass looks really effective. Yeah. Where is Riley? Genuinely, where is she? Because I don't know wherever this... Oh. Where's the... It said the botany... Where is the botany club garden, though? You know, it'd be much nicer if I knew where things were, but no. No. Move these all aside. I have some tea. Alright, holy lag. Oh, there's Riley. Hello.
Hi. Oh, you look nice.
Thank you. I took it out of Vivian's drawers.
You know what? That's so fair though.
Well, yeah, I needed something that isn't what I usually wear.
I think you look nice.
Thank you.
So kind of is that Tavali. I just ran to Tavali, so no one else. Apparently, Professor Kivens could be there, and I think Lady Leviathan. Cool.
Okay.
No vampires, apparently. I guess.
Interesting.
I
Hello,
didn't know who
Magic.
else was
Welcome.
invited, so I didn't get to talk to them yet. So. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You might book up an appetite before. Cool.
Work up an appetite. They have food? I wasn't expecting that.
I think they're bringing food. I'm assuming it's tea and food.
Well, yes, I have my
know.
own tea, but how many people are there? Should we go make more?
Maybe. I just know. It's just at least 2 and stuff with vampires. Just us.
So it's 6 people total? I have 7. But I'll make more just in case people want more.
I only have 2. I
Huh?
only have 2. I think we might have some. Not some Jasmine left, so.
I believe so. I have some in my kettle that I can pour out.
That's cool.
If not, then just make more. It's not too hard to make.
I know there's a high chance because of the tea party we might have to be talking about that one. Have you got a book from your mail? I left in your room.
Yes.
It's like 80 pages.
I read about it, and from how it's phrased, it is so very, very stupid. And even with how things are worded, you can tell it's just them pulling random things out of their mind, to put it nicely.
There's some that makes sense. There's like that obviously a T in my opinion, but then there's some they just say it randomly.
Like how I'm suddenly Leonidas's experiment. Yes.
I mean, you saw my session, my little part.
Yeah, yours was the most tame. Uh-oh.
How scandalous.
I know, you're part of the Tinker's Trinkets. Who can believe it? I have 4 more that I need to alter.
For them to define sign that we have.
Alright, I have more. I have 11 now, so it should be enough.
That could be a gift. I gave them a gift already.
Oh, was I supposed to?
I did it, but last time I don't think anyone asked it. I don't think Juliet did last time. I mean, I don't think Juliet has a lot of things, so I kind of expected that.
I wouldn't expect much from her.
Oh, I love the book where they mentioned that her and Vinny haven't been around. But,
yeah.
They were clearly not at the Rose Festival. They mentioned the Rose Festival. I'm like, Vivian was there.
Vivian was there. Juliet was. Vivian and Juliet were in the Demon Festival, so Lunar New Year. Makes no sense to me, but sure.
Also, Dante spending his time with Duchess Wavery. I'm like,
that's not new.
Yeah, and also they have not seen him spend time with me and others. It's the same. They were mentioning other people who aren't around. I'm like, they are been around. This writer is just not around himself, I guess.
That says a lot about who the writer is.
Also, they misspelled a title.
Oh, Lune? Yes, I did notice. It's such... It's the tiny mistakes that really said who they are.
Yeah, I definitely think it's not the same person.
Oh, absolutely not. By the word choice as well as the grammatical mistakes. And not to mention, in the first book, they included last names.
I don't know why. They censored a name. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yes, they did.
I don't know why, because clearly the last one mentioned it, and like, there's... I don't know if there's still signs of that person's laying around the school. It's not like anyone knows. A lot of people know already.
And also, how come I never knew about this alliance we had? I had to find out through a book.
I found out
and another book over there.
I'll be honest, I don't think anyone knew.
Okay, that's just lovely. That's lovely.
Dante, and then I mentioned it to Cassian, and Cassian was like, "Oh, I should have thought about that." I was like, "Oh."
Like he should have told us. Yes, yes, he should have told us.
I feel like his excuse is to make his book. The reason of the excuse the book setting up is to make the people back home less worried about us, so we're suspicious of us being here.
Yes, but if we had an alliance, I would like to know what alliance I'm a part of. I joined without consent?
I understand being friendly with other courts, but like, for our alliance at school? That's kinda...
It's a bit much. Especially without her knowledge, yes.
I don't know. It's Cassian. Candace has already known about it. I found out from like on April 1st. It was on April 4th.
That's a great date to learn about this. This is
It's a joke. I guess it is a joke.
Then you have the immediate release, so then oh no, never mind, it's not a joke.
Yeah. Luckily Candace loaded. Alright, it's over here. There's a space, so we can get ready.
Alright.
I was unaware of its location.
We're back!
Welcome back.
Hello.
I'm glad that you could join us.
Thank you.
Oh, you look all lovely.
Thank you. There is a coffee or a snack, so you're more than welcome to welcome yourself to.
Lovely. Interesting.
It's so delicious.
I have to say that the gardening club is looking gorgeous.
You guys, I'm thinking of over there. I want to slowly start a collection of all the flowers. And so I'm thinking perhaps across the water to do so, or if I can get permission to commandeer the courtyard across from here as well for plants.
I'm sure you can attain it.
As long as no one else wants to use it for a club spot. I don't think there would be an issue, but if someone else wants it, I'm not going to take over 2 of the courtyards on this side of the castle.
I do remember having to ask the headmaster for permission to find a place for my club, considering I did not wish to intrude on it anywhere on the castle grounds.
I know whenever I had pitched to him wanting to do a botany club, he included that I need to go craft up a proposal for it and have the location included, so...
Indeed.
I went searching. I thought of either here, or do you know the long corridor, flower corridor that is right by...
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
Thought maybe it might be nice to just have benches in there, but it's also very cramped, so...
It seems more like a private, secluded spot, however.
Well, if I may have a personal suggestion, I would suggest essentially having the gardening club tend to the gardens of the school without necessarily occupying all the spaces. Therefore, there's free reign and a lot of space to potentially practice decorating on, but, well, no worries about encroaching on others.
That's certainly an excellent suggestion. I know over here is where I'm going to keep all the books and such for the club, so if someone misses a meeting or is interested, they can just read and catch up. And then in the future, club meetings are not going to just be here. I want to find very pretty natural spots that have lots of florage.
Then that would probably be the best way to go about it. It allows you to have a meeting in a different spot every single time.
And I would definitely love to read these books.
Oh, I need to finish writing the first one from the first meeting, but I will have that soon. And if you ever stop by here in the future, the bookshelf is near the entrance. There are some there already too. I have the one from the Rose Festival, and I have the one from the Valentine's Day Festival that I wrote. So.
Oh, were you the one who wrote about those flowers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. That was most interesting to learn.
Yes, I have a fascination with them. And somewhere, albeit it's warm, there's some flowers you don't grow there, so being at the academy has allowed me to look at more things.
Indeed. I've never seen such a variety of foliage before, considering I've spent most of my time under the water.
I'm most interested in the flora under the water. Do you have any underwater that have certain meetings that you're aware of?
I'm afraid I am unaware, unless you perhaps are more aware than I.
Oh, of course. Well, kelp is obviously a very universal one, and it has certain ceremonial meanings, but also it can be used as healing properties. Kelp itself is almost a symbol of balance in that sort, as we often wrap our dead.
This is my time to eat.
For, well, funeral purposes. However, for more fun meanings, it's things that you'll find around coral reefs. The brighter the colors, the more intense the emotion conveyed. Considering underwater, well, such colors don't always shine through as much. Things with more glowing elements to them often symbolize things such as hope, new beginnings, where darker colors are, of course, more towards endings. If you give me any examples, I could be more specific.
I see. That is really interesting to know. I'm afraid I'm not all too knowledgeable on the specific flowers that are in flora that is down there to give you any specifics, but I do appreciate that knowledge. I know you mentioned the ones that glow, and I know you have the Glow Night Festival?
Oh yes, the Glow Festival. Still eagerly planning that.
Yes, how are preparations going?
They could be going. It's just so much has been happening lately. It's been hard to focus on it. However, I for one intend to try to spend just maybe a week or so trying to just simply focus on only that to get everything set up. There's a lot to be done. But I am most excited for you all to see it when it is finished.
I look forward to it. I know festivals and events in general take a lot of effort to go into them. I know this tea party was prompted because of attending Cindralune's Lunar New Year, which ran fabulously. I really enjoyed myself when I was there.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. We did put quite a bit of work into it, especially when it came to the food. There was so much of it that we had to make.
Prepping.
A lot of prepping.
I imagined so, and you had so many options that were available to any dietary restrictions, so I thought that was wonderful.
I'm glad. I made sure to be inclusive of all. It was definitely interesting to experiment with the new ways since, well, we only eat meat, so I wasn't exactly sure of how things would taste.
That's certainly fair on that. I, in general, I like cooking as more of a hobby passion of mine. So.
What
I
do you say?
found everything there quite delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have to say they taste so wonderful.
I forget everything that I had, but I know I grabbed samples of most things that were suitable to me, and it was all very enjoyable.
Indeed.
I'm very glad. Perhaps one day I can just make more.
Were those dishes typically traditional for the holiday itself, or are those things you often enjoy in your territory?
They are very, very traditional dishes. Typically, we would have them only during Lunar New Year, but sometimes people may enjoy it outside.
Mm-hmm. There's some like the Owen slices you don't need those only at Lunar New Year.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Is there any other holidays coming up anytime soon besides, I think to my knowledge, it might be the Globe Festival up next. I know we have the summer solstice coming up in June as well, but I haven't decided how we're going to handle that at the Academy yet.
I do hope you find it breathtaking. The glow night is a time in the calendar where most glowing things in Court Cindralune tend to bloom. It's the brightest nights nights underwater. I do wonder how we can bring it to the surface, though.
I'm
Indeed.
curious, can you see it glowing from the surface? Like, I feel like if I was to look over at night, the dark ocean, and if I could see the glowing from the bottom, that would be like looking at the night sky as well.
Well, depending on regions. I know it happens in the Imperial Sea. Levy, do you know if it happens in any other regions? It's the Crystal Sea as well.
Indeed.
But a lot of bioluminescence happens close to the surface of the water, so if you step in or splash around, everything begins to glow.
Yes, it is
So
quite beautiful.
So I'm sure skipping stones would give you quite the sight. I just don't know if this phenomenon actually happens here.
I see, it does sound rather breathtaking, so if it doesn't happen here, perhaps in the future, I will need to see about taking a trip to Cerulean and seeing that on another year.
Not to think about all of our geographical locations that have that phenomenon. There's a lot, but not many, and it's typically, like Della said, more towards the surface and near beaches. I think it's due to sometimes the bioluminescence of algae when it migrates during parts of the year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I am familiar with most of our areas, but regarding how should I say, the organisms and the flora involved, I'm not too familiar with.
Flora and fauna?
Yes, thank you. But I am looking forward to our Glow Night Festival. It will be a lot of fun. It is simply a festival we like to host, really with just the intent to have a wonderful night, as is any festival.
I see. I'm looking forward to it.
We've been speaking enough about the Glow Night Festival. I am curious. For the two of you, what's your favorite of your festivals?
I think I am most fond. I don't know. I want to say summer solstice is typically my favorite time of year, but at the same time, Valentine's Day does tend to rival it. Not even because of it being romantic. I like Valentine's Day because I do like the color pink.
An aesthetic choice. I mean, after seeing the grounds, I'm not surprised.
Yes,
A lot of it.
that was such a wonderful festival. There was so much to do.
It was quite nicely organized. President probably give summer solstice.
I know traditionally our summer solstice is celebrated with festivals, So I don't know if I'm going to do another one for that when it comes June, or if I might choose to do something a little different, just because we did do a festival for Valentine's Day, which is not all too often celebrated that way. So that's why I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I know I have letters from home that I might even be summoned back to court for the summer solstice to hold our official celebration there. So I don't know if one at the academy will be held.
See. Well, I would hope so. It would be quite lovely.
It's a very upbeat time of year, so it would certainly be fun. What about Cindralune? What are your favorite holidays of your court?
Well, I know we have a Moonglow Masquerade Ball that hosts every year underneath the harvest moon, which I believe is It's festivities. We also like to send out lanterns to the night sky to honor the ones.
Yes,
I know
the lanterns are definitely my favorite part. It's always nice to see them flying in the sky. Very free.
I agree with that. We do something similar for our solstices. I think winter solstice, it's whenever we send out what we wish we could say to those we've lost, and summer solstice, we send out our future aspirations.
Aw, that sounds so sweet.
It is. I suppose that's what the tide ceremony is somewhat.
We're talking about traditions.
Both the beginning,
today was mainly about culture.
Sacrifice things in order to hope for, well, good things to come in the future. It's a very religious ceremony, though.
That's interesting. I know that we burn things when a loved one dies, typically money, to send it to the afterlife with them. Typically, whatever you burn goes to the afterlife for them.
Now that's a topic, actually. Well, we all have different types of faiths, and I suppose this is the question: what kind of afterlives do each of our faiths, well, hold for us?
If no one else going to start, I suppose we could. Personally, for us, those who pass go, well, we say into the moon's embrace to, I suppose, continuously paw up there in an embrace of the moonlight, just basically a non-ending, not exactly hunt, but a non-ending peaceful rest in which they can continue to watch over their loved ones.
And that's why the winter solstice is when the moon's out the longest, that it ties into a lot of our mourning and looking on to our ancestors.
What about Cindralune? You mentioned that you send money and such, and we already do know that ancestors hold great power in your faith.
I think most demons believe the same way. There's a couple that have their own deception of how the afterlife works, but a lot of us believe they move on. But sometimes they like to stay and watch over their loved ones, which is why we want to honor their care for praying to them. Leonie, what thoughts?
I think you pretty much said it all. There's not much to it, really. We just honor their legacy that they made for us. Even though it's a really bad legacy.
I suppose we differ in that regard then, don't we?
Indeed.
Faith more so believes in less an afterlife and more a return to the serpent. A return to the cycle where, well, while some believe in some form of rebirth, others believe that it's more becoming a part of everything around, returning to the nature that we were formed from, the returning of the life that was given. There's no promise of anything in the future, rather simply that you become a part of everything or a part of something new.
Indeed.
I do think that's a nice thought to have on it.
It is also our faith can vary depending on the different sea monsters throughout the regions.
Indeed.
Each of us have our own specific practices, but it all boils down to the serpent at the end of the day. But I'm pretty sure that the most of us carry out the silent vigil.
Indeed. It's good to at least reminisce on what was lost, appreciate what was once there, while not holding anything against it being gone.
Your region is very spread out, is it not? With all the waters you occupy.
Indeed.
It's definitely understandable for things to differ depending on how much distance is between different parties.
Indeed.
Yes, it's also that, well, in sea monster history, only 300 years ago, we were many different clans that functioned on completely separate cultures. So while the general order of the coil has a standardized set of our religion, people have very varying interpretations, purely because of their own traditions.
I think that's interesting to know, because I know with Samara, we don't even, as all of our written records, even far past that, we followed the same traditions. It has just been our way of life on it.
To put a general difference, I suppose, those of the Crystal Sea do not in fact believe in any form of reincarnation, only in the idea that once you're gone, you become part of everything around, and in a sense, perhaps observe, perhaps not. You simply return to the tide, once and for all. And, well, those of the Crystal Sea firmly disbelieve the idea that you may ever return in the same form that you once were, or anything similar. Lovey, what about your region?
My region is hard to talk about considering there are so few left, including my own. I no longer live in my old region. Actually, in fact, I don't think I was taken there once for a family trip, but I barely remember. My family's ancestors were from the Jurassic Sea. There are many different types of sea monsters, and there are the sea monsters closely related to the serpent class, one of the larger types. And so the Jurassic Sea was the perfect place for those ancestors, given how big it is. Just wide, big blue ocean with various sand beds. Very few flora and fauna. The occasional outcropping cave, but that's about it. There wasn't really many traditions or things along the like. A lot of it was lost to time. But I suppose... One thing was, for my family and ancestors in particular, we took loyalty very seriously. In the sense of our partners, of course. When my family picks a partner, they pick a partner for life. If that partner is lost, we never remarry or find a new one.
Interesting.
In your region, marriage is considered, well, far more important than the other regions. I see.
point is a variety.
I know when I marry, I simply hope that I'm with the one partner for my life. I don't plan to, if they do meet an early end, to remarry, but I guess if the situation ever calls for it, I might have to. But you mentioned different types of sea monster. That makes me think of how in Fellfolk, it's less of a variety, I suppose, but we do have some who consider them being more related to black cats or mancoons or just different breeds, I suppose. Is there anything like that with demons?
I don't really believe so. I mean, appearance-wise, yes, but
Zodiacs we technically take a.
Zodiacs are different, though.
As well.
Zodiacs are not exactly breeds. In a sense, it's just the year that we are born. There are 12 different zodiacs. Those I cannot recall exactly. I don't remember. I even forget which zodiac I am.
I know I'm a sheep, so.
Yes.
We have the Linnea was like the year of the horse, so.
I see.
And that's why we had horses everywhere.
Yes, lots of horses.
I see.
I know I observed there's, I suppose it was considered warm-blooded and cold-blooded, so that is just more so is it random, or?
Straight
I think that's
generation.
More, yeah, I think that's maybe more genetic, if anything. Not so much, like, different species, but simply...
I know when Winter was here, being near demons who are warm-blooded was much more convenient than when I was not.
Yes. And then those who are cold-blooded, we were suffering as well.
Well, I actually do have to inquire then. With differences, well, some that are often very much noticeable are between your horns. That's to do with your first soul hunt, is it not?
Yes, I believe so. Though I think tails, I don't have a tail myself.
Genetics.
Yeah, that is also genetics, and that's a recessive trait, I believe. It's not really needed.
It's not well known. A lot I think only me, Leo, and Gideon and Juliet have tails in the school here. I think the rest don't. Unless I'm misremembering someone.
I don't think Cinder has one. Cassian and Candace don't have one. Dante doesn't have one, so yes, I think... Unless you count Castiel. Castiel doesn't also have a tail. But...
Well, why don't you tell us some more about the first soul hunt? It's clearly something that's greatly important and, well, often takes a lot of preparation. I'm sure we'd love to hear about it.
How was your first soul hunt?
Oh, mine was actually with a skeleton.
Oh.
Me and Leo, our father brought one back, and we got to kill it for the first time. That's why we only know a little bit about the meta, not that much. And that's why we look with our horns, and I guess our horns mostly look small size. It's because he also killed a with a skeleton when he was younger.
He wanted to reveal mine. Interesting. I'm not very too connected to the family. I'm a very distant relative, so hearing this information is definitely new to me. I do remember mine. My first soul was a snake. I was brought to the surface for the time for the soul hunt and killed a snake while I was there. That was my first soul.
Does it serve as a coming of age? Is it, I guess maybe like a passage into adolescence or teenage years? Or is it earlier than that?
I think it depends on the family, honestly. I know I cannot remember how old I was when I did mine, but do you remember how old you were?
My parents wanted me to get it straight away. I believe just as I started walking, they wanted me to go on it.
I think mine was either around 10, I believe, or so. Definitely more coming of age.
We have something very similar in our culture of it. We have our first hunt, which is our coming of age. Age ranges vary. Typically you'll see it between the ages of 10 and 16. It really depends on just when the parents feel their kid is ready to go on it, because it does involve them going out into the woods by themselves without supervision. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean, I know you do it for souls. Ours doesn't have to be, I suppose, actually hunting something. It can just be finding something and bringing it back.
Interesting.
It's more of a traditional thing to do, but it is believed to kind of reflect on what their future holds in a way. So, for example, if someone comes back and finds like a feather and they make it into a quill, perhaps they'll be a scholar in the future. And typically, I know for us, we don't really go into detail on what we found on ours, just because it is, since we believe it is a representation of our future, we don't want to risk upsetting it.
I was gonna ask, but I understand now.
I think we might have a book in the library about the first hunt more. Either it's in the library or it's in my room, and I never put it in the library. So
I would love to read it.
I'll have to double check on that.
Me as well. That sounds most interesting.
Yes, we don't really have anything akin to any of that here.
No, we don't really have coming of age type traditions or anything. Well, I guess it could vary based on region and sea monster,
But that
of
does
course.
go for everything. And besides, it's mostly the fringe houses that have their own separate traditions. Most of our traditions, like I said before, have been mostly standardized with small variances.
Indeed. I also wanted to ask, we have a variety of books on our regions and some of the various sea monsters and their anatomical structures. Does Court Silmera and Court Cindralune happen to have any books based on your various types of regions, or perhaps, if forgive me it's a little to ask, like anatomical structures or types of, I suppose, a book explaining why certain spellfolk would be a different coloration, why. Actually, I've been meaning to ask, I've noticed that, I read somewhere that Court Silmera, the royalty, has twin tails. Is there a reason for that?
There is. It's basically just since ancient times, the Silmera family has been particularly blessed by both the sun and the moon, which represents two tails, one from the sun and one from the moon.
Huh. I see.
I'm sure there's books existing that have more of the anatomy and such and knowledge of us. I know I don't have any in my possession currently. Professor Saren honestly might, given that she sort of acts as the school nurse, but I am unsure. Lady Daphne might also, so I can inquire with her about it.
I'd be most interested in to read things like that. It is somewhat of a topic I'm most intrigued by, considering the amount of sea monsters in the sea. It is interesting to learn about the types of various species and other folks on land.
No, I will say, Lady Levy, it is probably because, well, when it comes to sea monsters, us calling ourselves one singular origin is certainly a stretch, isn't it?
Yes. Though, we're mostly all, in abilities-wise, similar now.
Waiting to interject.
Well, I do have to know. Oh, apologies.
I was gonna answer the question. I don't think we have any knowledge, books here, but possibly we can
I
get some here.
think that's a Cassian question, though. It seems something that would be more in the royal archives rather than just out and about. Perhaps you could ask, monks or something of the sort.
Monks.
Yes, monks. They are, I believe, the equivalent to Solmaren priests. They practice magic, mainly healing magic, and rituals such as cleansing rituals.
Similar to a sorcerer?
Similar, yes.
See.
But more of a religious type in a sense, more of a traditional stance.
Interesting.
I suppose I'll ask a general question to the table. And this is a matter of personal opinion. But what historical event or historical era of your court do you believe most influenced your current culture and why?
This feels like a real code class.
Apologies, perhaps I'm too far into... Well, if that's not part of what Royal Code is about, I don't know what is. But perhaps I'm too into the teacher mindset. Let me permit that I refresh myself. Favorite part of history, how about that?
I don't know if I necessarily have one. As I mentioned previously, our written records, we have lived a very streamlined, I suppose. We follow our traditions and we honor those who have passed before us, ensuring that their memory and beliefs continue onwards. So we certainly have evolved in the sense of technological improvements, quality of life improvements and such, but I wouldn't say I have a favored technological one or favored historical one, just because as it stands I am in the present and I know that currently it's likely the best our court has seen, and I do hope it continues getting better.
I'm not too sure about ours. I do know for certain that the coming of Cindralune is probably one of the most important things, as it is how there are demons. I don't remember the history all too well, do you?
A little bit. I remember, I think it was the first one that's summoned under the moon, and that's why we are attuned to the moon a lot.
Yes.
I'd say your sea monsters are a little similar in regard. Not quite, though. The moon has a certain sway.
Indeed.
For instance, during the ceremony of the tides, when the moon is at its fullest. Like the moon and the ocean, it's never one and the same. It is constantly changing. It can be calm one instant and then raging tsunamis the next. It varies, and like so, our emotions are also connected in a sense. Hence why sometimes during a full moon, sea monsters can be more excited, or occasionally irritable. But it also depends on the sea monster.
I have a deep adoration of the moon. I love it an equal amount as the sun. I would never rank one above the other. It's what gives light in the dark sky for us to see. It's what, for us, we consider where those who have passed have gone. I value it greatly. I think everything in the world has its purpose and has something that it proves itself with.
Indeed. Regarding your question, Della, do you particularly have a favorite moment in history?
Well, favorite. I think my favorite moment in history isn't in sea monster history. However, if we're to stick to sea monster, I think it's just the most influential one. The unifying of the houses. Wouldn't it be?
1725.
The beginning of it all, the beginning of Court Cindralune. The houses unifying in order to potentially one day join the Thorned Concord.
Indeed.
As before that, well, sea monster history is rather vague, but before that it's simply a connection of completely separate clans that did not consider themselves a single court.
Personally,
Until
I think...
Draven Ondine came around. Yes.
Indeed. That was a most important year. Personally, however, I think 1925, 100 years ago, was the most important one.
Well, I suppose most influential to now.
Indeed, well, when we first came together, it was simply the heirs and anybody of nobility who attended banquets, but then, around 1925, all sea monsters of noble status, and others, in other statuses, not just nobility, depending on what you did, were allowed to attend annual banquets and meetings and slowly start making their way to interact with people above the surface, which I believe led to a great, bigger understanding of cultures.
Was heavily influenced by the fact that, well, sea monsters began gaining the ability to spend, well, more than just a few seconds above ground, and it turned into, back then, a singular minute. Even so, it was better than nothing.
Yes.
We could still stand on the ground, and it wasn't just certain families that could. The ability over the past 100 years became, well, it evolved.
And also de-evolved at times.
That's what happens with constant change, though.
Indeed.
Always annoying when it de-evolves.
I don't
At
know
least I
about you,
imagine
but I'm
so.
personally glad I'm not a giant serpent.
I know I've heard at one point or another that eating your dietary was only a recent adaptation.
Indeed.
It was early in the school year that I was told that it was only a few generations ago that the majority became vegetarian.
There's actually an explanation for that. Simply put, well, a long time ago, sea monsters didn't just eat vegetables, but also we ate meat and fish alike. Well, I say meat hesitantly because since we couldn't go on land as much, it really depended on what ended up in the ocean if it was meat. But mainly fish and other sorts. But then, I suppose, I guess you can think of terms of natural selection, or when you have one predator too many in one environment. A lot of fish began to fade away too fast. There wasn't enough food to go around via fish, so obviously you resort to eating something else, which tended to be a variety of kelp and other such flora and fauna of the sea. And slowly but surely, the population grew back. However, we slowly began to just, weed off fish and meat in place of kelp and other such, because it is a lot easier to eat and also easier to grow and acquire, and hunting became less of a need. Slowly our diet began to change, and now we have officially evolved to only strictly be vegetarian. So much so, in fact, that meat makes us sick.
Only as late as, well, even as late as just 2 generations ago with my grandfather, some were still able to eat meat, though I don't know any sea monsters who still have the capability anymore.
It makes me curious if there is some, but they are following the more social etiquette now to not.
Likely. It's difficult to come upon meat dishes underwater, so how would one really know?
Understandable. I know, historically, I know that, obviously, it's not a secret that our diets mainly consist of fish. So early on, that would have been what our earlier folk ancestors did much of. But I think as we settled down in a one place and built up civilization, that's when the farming and such and our diets likely expanded. I know if you see normal lords and ladies walking around, the cats, typically you do see them sticking to meat diets and not really showing interest in wanting anything to do with plants for nutrients, I suppose. They might play with them, but I know a lot of flowers can be toxic to them.
Actually, I want to change my answer. I know what my favorite historical event is from, well, our court. It has to be the development of the conduit.
I suppose that would be a rather significant event.
I suppose favorite advancements versus event. It's really hard to choose. Oh, but then, no, I will refrain. We'll be here all day.
Well, the conduits gave you the ability to more at ease breathe upon land, so it's understandable, because without it, it would have been much more difficult to attend other court banquets and such.
Indeed. And recently we also were blessed with further breathing ability.
Indeed. So, I suppose that's... I hope that goes down in history books. I'd be honored if it did.
I don't see why not. It was quite significant progress.
If it does go down in history books, I change my answer. That is my favorite historical event.
Well, I
At
must
the
say
risk of being self-centered.
I'm in the dark on this. Can I be informed? After all, if it's going to go into the history books, I think. The more people who know, the better.
Well, a few months ago, I made a breakthrough in conduit research. I discovered a way of linking the conduit to a sea monster in a way that instead of only being able to survive 3 minutes on land, even with no conduits around, we can now last up to 8. And even more, technically, I myself can survive hours on land, though it gets painful after a little bit. Essentially, we've removed the need for many sea monsters to go underwater. Furthermore, it's also just improved our quality of life on land. We're far weaker on land than we are underwater, and we've managed to improve that a little bit, at least in the presence of conduits.
I see. That's certainly a very significant advancement, because you said, what, 3 to 8 minutes, so that's 5 additional minutes for most, and
for
potentially
some,
more.
For some hours, which I'm, well, at the risk of sounding self-centered, I'm very proud of it. I also think it is a great breakthrough, and I truly hope that it will be remembered.
Oh, it certainly should be, given the substantialness of it and the impressiveness of it. It most certainly should.
If it does, that's my favorite historical event. Final answer.
Is it really historical of it? I guess it's present. I guess I know it's historical now that it's been a couple months. So.
Making history, right? Though I suppose we all are.
I think the entire attendance at the academy in itself is a historical thing, or will be considered a historical thing in the future.
How do you...
I
It is a
imagine so.
dream. It is a dream to potentially have your name remembered, something that maybe children at school might learn someday.
I agree. I know we greatly value education in Silmarin because the more educated you are, the more you can develop your skills and improve life around you. So we like to make sure that we have education as open and accessible as we can.
If you were to go down in history as something, and this goes to everyone at the table, what would you most like to be remembered for? In a general sense. I suppose the fashion you carry yourself with, some kind of great breakthrough.
I don't know. I know my name will be in a history book. I'm hoping it's remembered fondly. But I suppose it'll be written by whoever comes after me. Perhaps my incredible fashion taste if I'm not going to go into the soulless side of things.
Not go into the solace side of things.
If I'm not going to rely on my title, like, if someone should write about me, because I'm gonna be written about as a soulless. So if I was to choose something different, I would like my fashion.
As a soulless, would you rather be remembered as great, or perhaps as kind? Peaceful?
Protective, I suppose. Which I think would cover peaceful if I'm protective, as long as I don't have to do anything to protect them, I suppose.
And the rest of you?
I'm not exactly sure myself. Honestly, I don't exactly know yet where I stand in all of this.
I think mine's is definitely trinkets. I do want to make my own business one day and be able to go across the land to sell my own wares.
Remembered in more specific history, but still has someone to look up to. Tavali?
Not to copy answers, but I don't really know. It's like Valaris don't exactly go down in history, I think. They all get noted down on what their positions are and any accomplishments, like changes perhaps they've made, but there's too many other responsibilities that they have to the church, the acolytes, the priests. In general, they have too much to take care of to really have the time or need to strive for anything as great as going down in history.
I do think taking care of those who are reliant on you comes before making a name for yourself.
Exactly.
Lemme, if you were to go down history for anything, what do you wish it would be for?
I'm not too... I suppose my opinion is that I honestly... Forgive me if this sounds a little bit... not rude, but just... I really could not care if I'd gone down in history. I am here to serve my Duchess, and that's about my purpose, but if it is something, I hope that I'm remembered. I do not mind either way.
I think living in the present and just wanting to focus on what you can do now and not worrying about what comes after is an honorable thing to do.
Thank you.
I agree. I think it's much better to live in the present.
Well, like I said before, we are making history as as we are here.
Right.
So I suppose the future's not distant of a thought. I think everyone can guess my answer.
I think you have done a lot to be written and remembered down in history, so.
Now here's to hoping.
You could always write the book and put it in the library yourself. I'm sure it would stay there for a long time either way.
I feel as though half of us in the technology world wouldn't have much as their advancements if not for you. I might not understand it, but I know that you were part of making a lot of the creations.
After me.
Yes, engineering is still not something I can wrap my head around. I know you have your business in that line of things, and you make all these small things that are wonderful, and I have to be amazed every single time.
Well, small and big, they support each other at the end of the day.
Could you actually go more into detail about your creations? As someone who lived a very isolated life, I don't really know anything about you.
Alright, well, I'll try to keep this brief. I dabble in multiple industries. My greatest breakthrough was, of course, airships. I made quite a grand breakthrough in how they function, and since then they've become, well, used far more in different kingdoms. And of course mostly in ours. Besides that, I have also made multiple scientific breakthroughs regarding the conduits, the most recent one being the one about connections to conduits. It can also help medically a lot for those who aren't sea monsters and may have any issues breathing.
Interesting.
Of course, I'm not on inventions, but just general work. I've improved engines, transport, and such, mostly in regards to trains. I'm always working on ways to improve them. And I also have my own business in regards to smaller trinkets. That I'm mostly known in Court Solmera for my mechanical birds.
I enjoy them quite a lot.
Very much so.
And if you pay attention to, let's see, do we have anything here of Caribbean tech? Of course, today I don't wear any of my badges and such. Have you ever, on, say, a mechanical hair curler, or, I suppose even any of the, well, any transportation devices, have you ever seen a symbol that's a cog with 2 rows of teeth within it? If you have, that's Caribbean tech, and that is supplied by me.
Very, very interesting. I can't say I've seen that, I'm afraid. But I will be sure to keep a lookout for it now.
But yes, that's... Back to the topic, though.
Oh.
It appears the tide did not wish for the topic to continue.
No, it's telling us to cut it short.
Perhaps a new topic is in order.
See, we talked about holidays and history, and we talked about religion. I guess this isn't necessarily entirely cultural. Well, I guess it is. I'm curious to know what perhaps what majors you're going into, like advisor and such, and what they represent in your court, perhaps. That lines with cultural.
In a sense, especially when it comes to the sorcerers and sorceresses, which is the major I'm going into. They are the ones responsible for holding rituals and giving markings to demons, as it is a very common practice. I'm sure even who's a good example of markings? I feel like either Cassian or Candace.
Yeah.
Cassian has them on his horse, I believe. I'm forgetting what Cassian looks like now.
He does have those purple marks on his horn.
Yes. Those are given by sorcerers or sorceresses, and they are the only ones able to determine when markings are earned. And they are essentially a reflection of achievement.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
I'd assumed that was just a sort of something you're born with.
I did too. I did think it was just a trait.
No, they are very much so intentional and given. Typically, the first one is given during coming of age. I don't know if any of you have something to this similar extent.
Not really. Nothing of that significance in itself. Like, if you've seen Moon 7 with like a short sleeve, he has one of his arms is tattooed, but that isn't. I'm sure there's significance to him to it, but it isn't like
Who's 7?
culture-wide. This is something that means this.
Well, I'm going for Lady in Waiting. Well, it is more typical with expected of I believe most courts of how they Lady in Waiting's working there. Mostly to help party planning and like festivities, keep the appearance. Nothing too important as like a sorcerer.
I know for us, Lady in Waiting has a lot of importance. They are, while in hierarchy and technicality, I would say the advisor still ranks above them, but they are someone who advises the lady or lord they serve. Likely an equal amount, if not more. They typically advise more on personal side of things versus the advisor advising on economical or cultural, specifically. But for us, our Lady in Waitings are typically someone we're extremely close to, because it is someone that we are trusting their opinions of.
I see.
I am going for a Lady in Waiting as well. I suppose I am going for that position, but in a way I've been in that position for a while. And our court, obviously, it varies depending on the noble you serve, and depending on the noble house the lord or lady in waiting is from. That their closeness to whoever they're serving can also vary. For instance, I know I was picked to look after the duchesses and make sure they are looked after well. But I, of course, make sure I serve the duchesses first and foremost, since that is what I was picked to do. And I intend to keep upholding that responsibility, along with, of course, like Lady Riley mentioned, helping to plan the parties and make sure everything is tasked. Oh, and also, I guess sometimes a lord, lady in waiting will work hand in hand with the advisor, since sometimes there's some information that you pick up that could be useful for the advisor to know. After all, being close with the staff of one's court is a job that a lady in waiting must take very seriously, and making sure everybody is doing their due responsibility and that they are all comfortable and as happy as they can be, to make sure everything runs efficiently.
It's a very valued position, even if they don't get all the credit they deserve for it, to keep everything running so smoothly. So I do like your court, or your take on it, since you said it can vary depending on who they're serving.
Indeed.
I must ask, since you two are heirs, if you weren't heirs, what would you aim for?
Well, as Solmera heirs, we, 7 included, all of us started as loons, and we are more or less from a young age raised to fill a specific position. So how Tivali is doing a lot of things with the priests and the church. Initially, I was being raised to more so be a socialite, might be the best word for it. I was going to be more so in charge of diplomatic relations, hosting nobles that came to our region, or our own nobles for events, and coordinating and throwing those events. So that's why I still have a heavy hand in hosting the events, because that is what I was raised to do prior to me becoming the soul. So if I wasn't, that would be, I guess, Lady in Waiting would be where I would fall into, I suppose. But event planner and coordinating things.
And what is the process for picking a soul?
Well, from a young age, it's pretty much our father would watch us, and 7 is the oldest sibling, so he was previously the sole pick, but he was a loon for most of his life as well. And since I was being raised to be more of a socialite, and Tivali had the church ongoings, it was only natural that as the eldest, he was picked to be our next Solus. But when it came down to him not winning the position and deciding between me and Tivali, it's Tivali has the promises to the church, and mine are just gatherings and such, so it made more sense, I suppose, for me to take on the role.
I see.
Yes, when picking a soul, it's, I suppose, technicality requirements is they have to have the twin-tailed trait and be related to the Solmera family, but it is most often chosen from the children.
Does that imply there are other folk with twin tails other than the Solmeros?
Yes. In very rare cases, our just children are born with the 2 tails, indicating that they were just born very blessed. In that case, usually perhaps a noble family might decide to take them in. Very rarely the Solmera family ourselves would take in that child, but most usually they would go to the church.
So it has never happened, but I suppose if it came to a point that myself, Tivali, or 7 were all incapable of being soul, they would seek out a disciple of the church, most likely that has the twin-tailed trait, to be trained into the position, unless there is a relative of ours that is closer related that could, if there was no other option, because it is, our soulless position is also a religious role. It is, they have the blessings of the sun and moon, so they are guiding our court.
Most interesting.
I know your court has, I forget the technical term for it, but I know you do voting for your heirs, no?
Yes.
How does
We
that all go for it?
Well, typically, the high chancellor. Well, most of the time, whoever it is currently, their children is technically high chancellor until later on when the voting, which I believe Cassian is voted in, and he is now technically in next line, I guess you could say, in typical terms.
I see. So does the voting just happen every, like, once a generation? Or is it on a timer of sort? Is it just whenever or is it like the High Chancellor has their children, when their children's of age, like another vote is held? Or is it something different?
I believe it is 5 years, I believe. Every 5 years there'll be a vote between all the districts.
I see.
And since it is a voting system, does that imply that it not only has to remain within the family, that other families can participate? And what qualifications are required for them to participate in such a voting process?
Well, I think a lot of people who've been training for ones who want to be voting, a lot of them will have to go training at such a young age to be ready for the position, and then showing proof to the rest of the districts that they can do it, I guess. So it is open to majority everyone, I guess. But because of how closely, not really closely knit, but how much
Damn,
words
they
could spread
dropped
about
the
everyone's
beat with that
suspension,
drum. Holy shit.
achievements,
Hold on, I'm getting
around
distracted.
our
Let me turn this down.
neighborhood. It helps a lot for words.
You see. Interesting.
That is interesting. I know we are also very merit-based on, while we do positions that be passed down, it is you have to prove yourself for them. We don't have noble families that do nothing. If they don't contribute to the region, they don't, and if they harm the region, most definitely they don't keep their title.
Understandable.
So if everyone plays a role, and some families are more experienced in, I suppose, like clothing and textiles, while others, like the Lafayettes, are pharmaceutical-based. Apologies. Most of our noble families,
I'm gonna have to
go by their name,
talk
you
to
can
him
figure out
eventually.
a business or some type of charitable work that they do that makes them deserving of their merit.
It's understandable.
I hope this meeting is coming to a close.
Oh, yeah, so is that else?
Pardon?
Or is it, how's yours work? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, when it comes to the current Duke, it is passed down to the Duke's children. Typical monarchy, I guess you could say. Personally, there hasn't been any changes since Grand Duke DivineLeonie first came into power. The very first Auntie to unite the other houses and clans, and to make Court Cindralune to join the Thorn Concord. And ever since then, his ancestors have taken up the head of Grand Duke or Duchess. So, it is just a line of succession through blood. In terms of the various noble factions around, or whoever stepped into nobility, which, depending on what you brought to the table, can put you in a noble position. Back then, when everything was still being formed, that is. My household, as an example, the Nereids threw in their lot when they decided to join the Thorn Concord to be loyal to the Grand Duke Ondine and Court Cindralune, and have served them since. Though I have had to take over my household at a young age. And with that, while my responsibilities and duties are always to my duchesses, I also have to balance making sure my household, my estate, and everybody who works there are adequately cared for, and making sure everything is handled, as I'm sure every other noble here has to do, even if they are not fully in charge of their house yet.
I do think everyone, if they have people relying on them, when it comes to being nobility, if you're employing them or if they're in your territory, that you should be caring for them. So that is impressive.
Indeed. Though, it is different from house to house. I tend to think that way along with my family. Other noble houses can continue to do the line of succession through blood, or if there was somebody we are fond of who we know is good at their job and have the qualities of a leader, we can also appoint them as a successor to our household, or give them the name, and they can change the name of the household to their name. It would still be in the history books, of course, but it would be written down. That is very rare, however.
Ooh, the lag.
But it really also depends if there's anyone left to take the name.
Yes, in regards to Cerulean, I think you're all starting to realize we're very much not, well, not so culturally the same, depending on the region.
Perhaps the last 2 seats should have been filled by more members of your court, so we get it to be more diversity on it. It is interesting to learn. I like seeing how different families run different ways.
Well, the most common people that are here are, of course, from the Imperial Sea, and in that regard, that culture is fairly similar. However, it would be a lie to say that things don't differ if, say, you were to go a few miles off from the Imperial Sea. Suddenly, you might encounter very different things.
Mm-hmm. There certainly is no correct way to oversee a house or to do certain things. I do think it always varies depending on happenstance and environment. So
there are some legal, of course, restrictions to how things should be run. Documents need to be passed by correctly. Everything has to apply to general Cerulean law. And
Indeed.
if certain boundaries are crossed, then, well, you can very much get arrested and someone else will be put to rule in your place. Or you may be punished through, well, the loss of your voice.
interesting.
Is that a common punishment?
Well, it's quite severe. However, if you can't, well, if your voice isn't being used to give commands that are beneficial to your area, if you are being treasonous, or, well, there are plenty of crimes where this could be used. It's quite serious, but for either a temporary amount of time or permanent, your voice could be taken from you.
I see.
It is, after all, a very strong weapon to use to gain favor. However, if your crime is deemed that you have done it bad, then your voice will be gone, to prevent you from trying to dissuade others, or try to rope others into your deeds for the future.
Regards to justice are very literal in a sense. It's a very restoring balance type situation. If you have committed a crime, the punishment will be sought out to balance what you've done. If you've stolen, you must pay.
An
If
eye for an
you've
eye type of
harmed-
deal.
Yes. If you've harmed, harm will come to you.
Interesting.
If you've spoken in a way that has caused severe harm, then the tool with which you have caused that harm will be taken from you. Of course, only when the law has been broken.
When the law has been
I
broken.
think that is interesting hearing about other court punishments. I would say ours. I want to say ours are more traditional, but I know traditional just applies to us. But a lot of our laws are more standardized with their punishments, but of course, the more severe the consequence. The typical things. Nobility is the one that comes into play of being, I guess, more severe. How you mentioned, if you take something for another, your punishment would be for them to have to give something back. For us, it's if like one of our nobles is to misuse the taxes of their people in their territory, or if they are profiting off the suffering of their people, their assets are fully seized and the assets are distributed between those who are harmed by it, while a new lord or lady would be put in place over the area.
I know for our court, we have something slightly similar to how you are. We have technically a law of the voice, which is typically also if it's someone's losing for misfortune or being falsehood or slander, the punishment is loss of public standing. Everyone will know that you're not to be trusted in a way.
I do have a question regarding how other courts sees authorized duels of sorts. I know, Samara, we have a system in place for duels, but typically we actually do not do combat duels. We'll do like duels of the arts, crafts, trades, anything of the sort, unless it just truly cannot be settled without two people wanting to swing blades at one another. But do your courts practice dueling? I know Bloodwind has I believe it's a duel of honor.
I'm not too sure for Cindralune. To be fair, I'm not very... how do I put this? I don't go outside very often, so I'm not too sure of how much of the outside world works other than traditions.
I don't think we have any, like, dueling like that, something. But we definitely... I don't think so, in my opinion. I don't think there's any such thing about it.
This is a difficult question,
Seems
honestly.
like a short contract? Maybe.
Apologies.
But
They mostly happen
not
between
sure.
knights or people who wish to become knights or
Contract
soldiers, as it's quite the beneficial career path.
Perhaps.
They are very often used during
I have never made
celebrations
a contract
as
before, so I'm
a demonstration of strength,
sure how
but it
it
really
works.
depends on the person. It's not really an integral part of our culture. It's simply not discouraged either, as long as it's authorized, fully agreed on, and of course there's a doctor on site.
Yes, it also depends again on the region and the type of clan, I suppose, or whatever their beliefs are in terms of fighting.
Yes.
However,
Laws-wise, it's not discouraged nor encouraged.
before we became an official court and formed together sea monsters, if you wanted to fight someone, you simply fought them. There wasn't much else to it, which might be seen as quite
barbaric.
I don't know what word I should use here. Suppose more so a natural thing for a predator to do if another predator encroaches on their territory. Just
Barbaric.
fight. Don't ask questions. But
Yes.
through slow evolution, it's more of a... there is more honor behind it now. More rules and scenarios. But it is not a big thing we typically have. There is no honorific duel we have in the history books that people go through.
I suppose since ours aren't directly related to combat all the time is why it might be more common. You'll see it in cases like noble families, perhaps two are wanting to bid on the same thing and can't reach a compromise on a contract of sorts, so instead they will have a paint-off or something of the others, and I think that does play into us being very merit-based on people having their talents. Even commoners will... For the non-combat duels, it doesn't need a lot of regulation to it. There has to be an overseer, of course, but if it is a combat one, it does have to have physical paperwork approval to go through. Commoners I don't really see ever doing combat duels, but you'll see them doing the more calmer options. And it's not even always to settle disagreements. It might just be more of a good fun on two people who are planting and who grows the biggest pumpkin, I suppose. It's encouraged friendly competition. It's just whenever it gets violent that it's strict.
suppose another reason we don't really have that is because we each know similar kind of where our own strengths and weaknesses in a way of just who not to mess with.
As I see competition in a way as a way for people to have motivation to improve. So if them having friendly competitions means overall they might produce better quality products for others in the region to enjoy, I will always encourage it.
That does sound like a very beneficial thing to have. Perhaps we should also start encouraging fellow sea monsters to partake in things like that.
Perhaps. Nothing wrong with a little bit of friendly competition.
Perhaps
could
we'll find
always-
more impressive that way.
Making trinkets.
It definitely does sound interesting.
That might be a little rigged in one side, but it would encourage them to get better.
I mean, Katharina, you know that I've participated in Solmera duels before.
Oh, most definitely, but if it's going to be more common within your own court, challenging a friend or two.
I would love for them to appear in Court Cindralune more often because I think they're absolutely magnificent. And well, I'm not much of a fighter.
Right.
I know I've hosted tea parties before with other nobles in my region where the premise is all of us making tea and deciding whose tea was best steeped and brewed.
Well, how I would
Well-
love to participate in one of those.
Well, if you want competitions in Cerulean, I will say the noble houses have the most extravagant fashion competitions you will ever see. When gravity works very different underwater, you will see some very different outfits.
That is very
Indeed.
fair. I know the times where I am in the water, it's very floaty. My
Mhm.
hair and my flowy clothes, so it does
I
sound very
also-
interesting.
I have found that on land, more clothes are typically the norm, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
A lot of
Well-
poofier gowns for sure.
So that's our own way of making fashion statements. The more fabric there is, the more we can decor it. I know Cindralune it was hanfus and such. What other type of traditional clothing do you see in your
It's
region?
mainly hanfus or chipals. Another way to say it, cheongsam. They are more traditional clothes. They are it depends on what you wear. Hanfus tend to be more flowy, as chipals are more modern and sleek.
I know whenever I attended, I went with a hanfu because I do like the flowier and layered fabric a lot. So it was very appealing.
I'm glad you did. There are very, very different styles. If it wasn't the Lunar New Year festival, you could also see colors in black and white. Not all of them are super traditional in a sense, as many people do customize it in a way, but that is just the typical.
Understandable. Fashion is about creativity and taking your spin on things, so if it isn't a situation that calls for it to be purely traditional, I would be happy to see things that are done with a spin. I think it makes them interesting. But with that, I'm going to wrap up the tea party. I did enjoy learning a lot from all of you and talking with you. You're more than welcome to help yourself with more treats from the coffer. I made it for all of you, so take whatever you please.
Lovely.
Yes. I would love to eventually make tea with you, Lady Leviathan, and I would love to see more of your cultural clothing. I know what hanfus look like, but I wouldn't be able to identify the others.
Well, I am wearing a teapot right now.
Oh, I see. And the other
Probably
was
very-
Kipo? What was the other one? I'm sorry.
Tea pal.
Tea pal. Okay.
I would very much enjoy making tea with you, Lady Katerina. I also do have a tea club, if you are interested.
I would be. I know at one point I saw one of your meetings, but I had other obligations. I couldn't attend.
No, I'm afraid you've been misinformed. I actually have yet to hold a meeting yet.
Oh, it was after a culinary class, I believe, or that never happened. So I believe it wasn't officially a club meeting and more of
No, it was more so anybody who wished to come learn to make tea. It was not official yet. It wasn't until your festival that I put together a sign-up sheet and everything to make it more so official. I just needed to had time to set everything up. But I do have a book listed of different teas and their effects. So if there's one plant I am familiar with, it's tea plants and their various effects.
Please do add me to that
in
list.
The future.
Certainly. The sign-up book is, I believe, still outside the club room if anybody is interested. Now Lady Riley and Lady DiMartino are part of it.
We'll have to have a joint thing at some point, because I know one of my club meetings for botany, I was planning to go over. I want to talk about botany in general, and one thing that you see flowers used a lot in is tea.
Indeed. I would certainly love that.
A joint discussion would be fun to do.
Of course. Just let me know a time and day, and I'll be happy to. Oh, and I do mention that if anything done last minute with any tea or baked goods need, I do like to cater. No.
I see. Yes. Thank you all for attending today. It was very joyful seeing all your faces. I hope you have a pleasant rest of your evenings.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Katerina.
Of course.
It was an honor to be here.
I would love some more spring rolls. I don't get enough of these.
I love making them.
I'm glad. They can be very difficult to make sometimes.
I like spring rolls and I like cabbage rolls, so I always make sure I make them in tandem.
I love the cabbage rolls. They are quite delicious.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Farewell.
Of course.
Thank
Farewell.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
I look forward to this again, hopefully. Look at this. This is
Do you want me to show
lovely.
you? Do you want me to show you the sign up?
What?
You want me to show you what the club room is? What you want to sign up for?
Actually, can you sign me up for me? I'm going to meet Professor Castillo.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to wait after, or do you? No?
You could just write my name in the book. That's fine.
Okay. Do you want to talk later more about the lovely book or not?
Sure. I don't see why not. It's so very idiotic, though.
I'm talking about both books.
Yeah, well, one more than the other is very, very stupid. And that's putting it lightly.
It's not time for the tea.
I was so worried the Alliance would come up in the meeting, but I guess not.
I guess it's not involved with them. I guess it's not.
Or maybe they were holding their tongue in terms of mentioning it. Because do they expect us to know about it?
I think so. Alright, let me know then.
Alright. See you.
Bye.
Now to get the Starfall. Okay. Wow, that was a long conversation. I did not expect it to last that long, and I don't think I'm going to be changing. whatever. Pick up the pace, 'cause this can't exactly wait. It was long? Yeah, it was. I finished my food during that entire thing. I was able to finish my food. I ate all my dumplings and I want more dumplings. But now we must talk to Castiel about this, which frankly I don't want to talk much about, but he's the only one I can talk to about it because he's the only one who knows about it. Ugh. Get me dumplings, please. Okay, fine. Uh-oh. I'm waiting for the look. I will actually pull up. Okay. You know where I'm at. Come over. I'll get you dumplings. Great. Alright. Where do I go? Not this way. The complete opposite direction. Okay. I hate how long of a walk this is sometimes. Takes forever. I can only imagine what it's like traveling to Starfall on land rather than in the Nether. Must be even farther. Ugh, not the time. Alright. Where is the professor? Oh, hello.
My timing's great.
Yes. Good for you. It was like you knew I was coming.
Well, I just... Well, that
Anyways.
sucks.
Do you remember the promise you made?
I've made a lot of promises in my life. I'm assuming it's to do with you.
You've only made one promise with me.
Not to send you home.
Read that. It's terrible that he's the only one that knows, but there's no one else I can tell about this. And if Mother sends something after me...
Interesting.
I received this a day or two ago, and... well, obviously I don't want to go back.
Right. Okay, well, I mean, at the end of the day, you are an adult. You can just not go back.
I'm more worried that she'd send something here. Whether that be... honestly, I don't know what she'd send. If anything, she may send the monks to me. And frankly, I don't want that either. And she knows where I am in the school.
Right. Well, not at every waking moment, at least.
Well, yes, but she knows my general location.
Right. Well, I mean, if you want to hide out here, I doubt she knows of this place.
I doubt it, but... I don't know what to do.
What's with the talisman comment?
It's a long story.
Well, if you're not wanting to go back and you're not wanting them to get you at the school, I mean, this is probably your best bet.
I was thinking so too.
And I have no problems with that. I'm actively doing construction though.
Is
But
it?
that's just in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, I figured, because I did come here the other day when I received the letter, just to scout out a location. I don't mind staying here in Starfall, it's just that I worry about the other students.
Are the monks violent?
If they want to be, they can be.
Well, the fun part is, I'm at the school, so...
Right.
And I don't mean to boast, but I just the other day, I took on a 3v1 and won, so...
Well, I did... in the book, did mention something about that.
Huh?
You being in the med bay, I wasn't sure if that was true, but...
It was true. Oh, the newest gossip book, as it were. I don't care about it at all.
I wouldn't either, but...
If nobles can act like nobles, that's not my problem. Hell, if adults can act like adults, that's not my problem.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Do you know how old I am?
No.
22, technically, in terms of physical age.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, obviously physical age, like, I look 22. I am physically an adult, but...
Right.
My memories don't extend that far.
Interesting.
You're probably gonna be the first person I tell about the talisman stuff and all of that.
Well, let me make a space so I can hear you while I build.
Alright.
I like to multitask. Okay. Scaffolding. Well, I'm good to go whenever you are.
You remember? I don't remember if you heard me say this, but my first soul was a snake soul.
Yeah, I remember that.
It had some consequences to it. That being my first soul. Because I'm sure you know your first soul technically determines your whole personality and such.
To a degree. It's not perfect, but...
Obviously not, but... When that personality developed, my parents saw it as an unwanted thing. So...
Interesting.
To suppress it in a way, they used the talisman. They hired monks and got talismans.
I didn't realize your family was, like, rich. Damn.
Talismans are just pieces of paper, really, with scriptures written into them. To be fair, anyone can make talismans. As long as you
hiring
know.
a whole group of monks.
Nobles will be
that
nobles.
takes an amount of money, yeah, I know. Trust me, I am aware. No one knows that better than me.
But... that's why I had the talisman, but... not fond of it. It essentially suppresses me.
Right. I would imagine that's not ideal.
No, and... I'm surprised no one has questioned me about it but Cinder. Of how
Cinder...
my personality is different.
I mean, people can go through change pretty quick. And
yes.
It could have just been a matter of you being shy at first. That's what I thought it was.
It isn't, though.
Right.
They wanted the perfect daughter and they got a replacement for it, essentially, with the talisman.
Don't love that.
No, neither do I. 13 years. 13.
I can imagine it's pretty tough.
In nothing? And just living behind something you can't even control while someone else lives in your body? No. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to live in nothing while I'm free now.
So what are you gonna do about it? Like I said, you're an adult. The choice is yours.
want to make sure they never see me again.
Okay.
But the thing is, I don't even know where to start.
Well, you've options, that's for sure. You could drop out of the school and just leave. No one would have really any trace of knowing where you are. You could stay in the school and refuse any sort of interaction. Or you could go back. That's how I see it.
That's the last thing I want to do. Go back.
I know the feeling. But I guarantee you, this is not me trying to sway your decision. It's just me making sure that you're informed. There are worse things out there and worse people out there. Reality,
That's
probably
right.
worse than you can imagine.
He is right. I don't know what's out there. What do I do? What can I do? What would you do?
What would I do? Well, I already ran away from my own court and family. So I suppose that's probably what I would do.
Right,
I
but you
think
have combat experience.
That's true. And I also, when I did leave, I also had more world experience than you probably do.
Definitely. I only really know the 4 walls of my room.
I would say you don't have any choice but to stay somewhere. Otherwise, you'll probably just end up dead.
Probably.
So you need to make the decision on where.
Is there a place where I can set up here?
Absolutely.
Then I'll probably stay here. It's probably my best bet. It's just staying away from other students, really.
Is there a problem with other students?
More so, I'm worried about them questioning things. Or,
Like
well,
what?
if the monks end up here and they ask, they're going to give me away or something. That's my biggest concern with it. Because some people don't know how to keep their mouth shut.
That is pretty true. Excuse me.
Are you sick? On
A
top
little
of
bit, yeah.
injured
Yeah, I'm fine though.
in your building.
I got nothing better to do.
Would
Oh,
you
I
like at least
missed
some
two.
tea?
Sure, I suppose. I'll take some tea.
Here.
Thank you. That's pretty good.
I'm glad I made some earlier today for the tea party, but didn't get a chance to share it. So.
I don't love the idea of being feral, but you know, here I am. Yeah, that's the right number. Okay. It takes longer to put all this up for the ceiling than to actually put the ceiling in.
I'm sure it does. What exactly were you putting in here again?
This is the grand hall, so you know Nuggles, who sits in my office?
No, I've never been in your office.
Oh, he's a hedgehog who takes my chair. He'll have a throne in here.
You let him take your chair?
He deserves it. He's just a little guy.
Okay.
I have a soft spot for small animals.
Uh-huh. Noted.
What is the problem?
I never said there was a problem. I'm just shocked.
So I'm very scared. Why? Why shocked?
You and small animals. The
Yeah?
Dark Knight, essentially.
What do you mean the Dark Knight?
You
I
wear
don't
dark
have no title.
colors and you are a
I'm
knight.
really wearing green.
Why are you wearing green?
Leonidas made the outfit for me. Because my other suit of armor kind of got messed up. That fight was not easy.
Uh-huh. What did happen?
I was getting stalked for about 2 months, and so I decided to lure them into a bunker, which worked, and then I had to fight the 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
Worked out, I killed them, but you know, it was a tough fight.
Yeah, suffered a lot, apparently, if you're both sick and injured at the same time. Which
Well,
I assume is
the
not...
The sick is not correlated.
Well, it doesn't
it's just
help.
Really poor timing.
It doesn't
help, but it's not correlated. It is just very poor timing for me.
I feel like that's an understatement.
I'll be fine. I've dealt with worse.
Mm.
Okay, alright. Break the torch. There we go. Oh.
What?
I keep placing torches and they're just annoying.
Mm.
Alright.
Is this all you'll be doing?
I need to meet up with Professor Charybdin, and I thought about talking to Dante as well.
Dante? What do you have to do with Dante?
I want to get to know him more. I feel like he's like one of the demons who I really just haven't talked to.
You'll find... I feel like Dante will find you more like you find him. Honestly.
What does that mean?
he's quite literally everywhere. Or at least for me, he is. So if I just turn a corner, he's probably standing there.
Interesting. But otherwise, I don't really have a lot going on today besides talking to Professor Cribden and Dante, so...
Alright then.
Alright, that's another portion done. With where all the glass is, I'm gonna put lava above it.
Lighting.
That's correct. And where all the glowstone is, there's gonna be pillars that have lighting inside of them too, so...
I was wondering how you're gonna light something so big.
And there's all the lighting in the walls, and then in the ceiling, and then it'll be all the pillars. And there'll be like some chandeliers, I think, that come down.
Alright.
It's a lot, but I'm getting there. This was
Slowly
over
but surely.
42,000 glass.
Yeah.
It goes about 9 layers.
Huh. Interesting.
It's a void war. So like,
Mm.
you do like a layer of glass, air glass, all the way down. You do about 8 or 9 layers of glass, and it gives it like that space effect, you know, like you can't see the bottom.
Right.
It's cool.
Very.
There's a lot of sand missing in a desert.
I can only imagine.
Ugh. God, the scaffolding's such a monstrosity.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. Thank you for your help.
It's not an issue. I know your feelings pretty well, so I can sympathize and empathize. Can I pick up the scaffolding, though?
I don't think the world wants you to.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Sometimes
The
I can.
shadow's working against you.
It typically does.
Alright. I will leave you to it, then I will figure out some place to set up. Probably on the border.
Let me kind of show you, because I'm assuming, are you going to be building like a house? Is that the idea?
At least something subtle, maybe, but I guess.
I mean, there's going to be plenty of houses around, so I don't mind if you build a house for yourself.
Okay.
So let me show you where is available. Really taking your time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like to walk. Apologies for walking.
Here, you know what? I have a better idea.
Oh.
Put that on my head.
Okay.
Get in. Alright. So this is Paxton's little loop here.
Right.
His plot. That's for the Fenwicks over here. So you could do like on this side of the canal. Over in that corner is where the Coliseum is gonna be. So you could build it over here, but I mean, it's up to you. If you see any granite lines, though, those are for like the districts.
Alright.
Get in the boat, get in the boat, get in the boat, get in the... Yeah, stupid.
Alright.
Shut up, ghost.
They're
Shut
very
up.
loud.
They are, and they're not kind.
They're more annoying than anything. They don't really do anything.
Your pal.
Alright. Oh, you use earth magic too.
Yup. That works out pretty well.
Hmm.
Are those sickles?
Yes. The other version of me, I guess, used size, and they are really, really inefficient.
Correct. I use my scythe. It is very sharp, and it hits very hard.
Hmm.
It's actually, it was tailor-made for me, based off my proportions, my weight, so I could use it one-handed for the balance properly.
What if your weight slightly changes?
Slight is not too big of a deal, as long as it's not like a drastic change.
Mm. So then that
I am a
means you
little
can't.
underweight, but I'll be alright. No. There's a healthy way to gain weight and a not healthy way to gain weight.
Pork buns? You don't want pork buns.
I'm okay, thank you though.
Alright. Well, I guess I will set up eventually something of
Do
the
whatever
sort.
you gotta do.
Thank you, Professor Castiel.
It is not an issue. As I've said to many people before, the reason I started Starfall is for people who don't have a place to go.
Right. Very well.
But I will leave you to it. Have fun.
Bye. I guess I'm starting anew over here. I don't know the first thing about surviving. What the hell do I even do? I've gotta get at work. I don't exactly know the style, but I could probably figure out something. I'm gonna have to look through, run back to my dorm to get things. Alright, that's my first order of business then. Time to get to work. My back hurts like crazy. My back. Ooh. Thank you, everyone. Oh. Ooh. Thank you, everyone from... Okay, thanks, Thomas. Thanks. Not like you're any better. Stretched, you're so right. Ugh. And hydrate, too. Hydration! Alright. That will be all for today. Thank you all for joining. It's been lovely. And finally, more Min lore. Right? Yippee! Guys, we love Min lore. We love Min lore. It's probably like one of the most developed pieces of lore that I've ever made for a character. Yes, lore, finally. Huzzah. Yay, Min lore. gonna say that was one of my theories. What? What was one of your theories, huh? Holy lore. Holy lore. Alright. I shall be getting going. Yeah, girl's a little eepy. And your girl gotta do some stuff too. Alright. The one that took Min was the truer version of Min? Oh, so like the current Min now, and the one we saw in the beginning was restricted by her parents? Eehee! Eehee! Eehee. Anyways. I'll leave you guys to the theory said. You can figure that out on your own and what comes next after this. But I will be going. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining today. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thank you, Natalie, for the €5 still. I remember after like 2-3-ish hours of stream. I remember. But thank you all so much for joining today. And I'll see you sometime. I don't know when. Whenever I'm needed for PSMP or whenever I feel like streaming, which probably won't be later until May. Anyways, I'ma go. Bye-bye!